Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of What Does This Data Say? Today I am shifting focus to Telangana. Telangana happens to be my home state where I have been staying for the last 40 years. This state is one of the 9 states where elections are due in 2023 before the 2024 general election. And it is one of the 2 southern states that will go to polls, the other one being Karnataka. Though there is still about 1.5 years left for the election, but both BJP and TRS have already started their election campaigns. More so the BJP because it does not want to be caught unawares if KCR decides to call a early election. On part of the BJP, it was none other than the Prime Minister Modi himself who thought it important enough to fly directly back to Hyderabad from Japan to attend a convocation of the Indian School of Business. Now, the Chief Minister of Telangana, KCR, as usual, decided to skip the event. KTR was in Davos where he spent his time well and has signed MOUs worth 4,200 crores for investment into Hyderabad. It would have been quite nice that among the founding members of the ISB, Chandrababu Naidu, Rajat Gupta, and Anil Ambani, at least Chandrababu Naidu should have been invited. But Modi being Modi, we all know he never shares the stage with anyone else. But Modi did find about half an hour's time to address the BJP workers at the old Begumpet airport. I'm going to show you a 2-minute clip of Modi's speech where you can yourself decide whether it was becoming or unbecoming of a prime minister to talk in the manner that he talked. A massive crowd of 200 BJP workers had gathered in the parking lot of the old Begumpet airport, and that too comprised of many security people and press photographers. Here is the clip.
तेलंगाना आंदोलन इसलिए नहीं चला था कि कोई एक परिवार तेलंगाना के विकास के सपनों को लगातार कुचलता रहे। तेलंगाना आंदोलन इसलिए नहीं चला था कि कोई एक परिवार साम दाम दंड भेद ये रास्ता अपना करके तेलंगाना को तबाह करने में नई नई साजिश करते रहे। पिछले दिनों अलग अलग चुनावों में भाजपा की जीत इस बात का स्पष्ट संकेत है कि तेलंगाना में अब लोगों ने मन बना लिया है। तेलंगाना में अब बदलाव पक्का है। तेलंगाना में अब भाजपा तय है। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि भाजपा का हर एक कार्यकर्ता इसी उत्साह और समर्पण के साथ आगे भी काम करता रहेगा। तेलंगाना तेजी से विकास के रास्ते पर चलेगा, तुष्टीकरण की राजनीति से मुक्त होगा, परिवारवादी पार्टी के चंगुल से मुक्त होगा। और भाइयों,
The state government on its part did not give a warm welcome to Modi at all. There was a group of youngsters protesting against the visit of Modi who had prepared a list of 17 questions. These 17 questions pertain to all the poll promises made by Modi to Hyderabad in the last 8 years. In this picture, you can see one of the questions is posted right outside the main gate of the Indian School of Business where Modi was to enter. I am sure this would have been taken off by the time Modi ji arrived at the venue. On the left hand side picture, you can see the students are painting "Go Back Modi." And I think this was done with the support of the local administration. As you can see, a police van is standing in the backdrop, and probably a few policemen too who are overseeing the students write this on the streets. Now, had this been UP, I'm sure by now there would have been many cases against the students of being anti national, and some of them would have been landed in jail, and who knows, maybe a few houses would have been demolished too. Now, before I present to you data regarding the elections, I want to review the preparedness of BJP for the elections in the state of Telangana. The biggest problem with BJP today is that they do not have a face in Telangana. The party president Bandi Sanjay Kumar, or BSK as he is known as, is a novice in the party politics in the state. He was made president only 2 years ago and does not have any significant post in the BJP party hierarchy. Sanjay Kumar's claim to fame is only that during 1996 Rath Yatra, he was given the responsibility to see that Advani's vehicle kept moving and remains in good condition. He claims to be a postgraduate from Kamraj Madurai University, though it is surprising that how he from Karimnagar went all the way to Tamil Nadu to complete his postgraduate program. He is a businessman by profession and he is really not that rich. But then the party is fully behind him. Now, when one has nothing to show, the only way he can gain attention is by making ludicrous comments. A day before Modi came, Sanjay Kumar Bandi made comments such as he will dig up all the mosques in the state because there was a possibility of finding a shivling underneath. He also said that if BJP comes to power, it will abolish madrasas, it will do away with reservation for Muslims, which is 4% in the state, and remove Urdu as the second official language. And that makes it very clear which way the BJP campaign is going to head in the months to come. Here's a recap of the 2018 Assembly elections of Telangana. There are a total of 119 seats in the state, out of which 88 were won by the TRS, 19 by the Congress, 7 by AIMIM, 1 by BJP, 2 by TDP, and 1 by Forward Bloc, 1 independent. It is noteworthy that out of the 117 candidates with fought election from the BJP, 102 lost their deposit. As a result of many by-elections held in the last 4 years, the present state of the Telangana Assembly is TRS has 103 members, AIMIM 7, Congress 6, and the BJP 3. Also note the vote share of the parties in the 2018 election. The TRS had a vote share of 46.8, Congress 28.4, AIMIM 2.7, BJP around 7%. So TRS had roughly 40% more vote share than the BJP across the state. So how does BJP, with only a 7% vote share in the 2018 election, think that it will be able to win 70 seats in 2023? This confidence boost to the BJP came because of the 2019 election results. TRS got a 53.7% vote share, BJP 20.5%, Congress little less than 20%, and AIMIM around 6%. Both the BJP and the TRS vote shares increased in the Lok Sabha election. And here is the map of the 2019 Lok Sabha election. The orange areas are where the BJP had won, which is mostly in the northern parts of Telangana. These are the three seats. One seat, Secunderabad constituency, won by Kishan Reddy, and the blue areas are the places where Congress had won, and the pink ones are all where TRS had won the seats. Now, BJP thinks that its policy of polarization will work in the next election too. So let's try to dig in some data to this effect. Here is a table of the percentage of Muslims in the districts of Telangana. The highest number of Muslim concentration is in Hyderabad, having 43.45% Muslims. The pink rows which I have marked are the places where Muslim population is above 10%, which are about 8 to 9 places in the state. The remaining places are all below 10%. In fact, some of them have population of less than 5%. The overall Muslim population in the state, according to 2011 census, was 12.68%, which is much lower when you compare it to this state like Uttar Pradesh, where it was close to 20%. The same table I have plotted on the map of Telangana. The dark blue places, the darkest of course is Hyderabad, which is 43.5. These areas which are darker shade is where the population is above 10%. Adilabad, Nirmal, Nizamabad, Sangareddy, Vikarabad, Hyderabad. So these are all places close to Hyderabad or to the north of Hyderabad. The remaining part where TRS had won election are the white areas where the Muslim population is less than 5%. I will now show you both these maps side to side. As I said, the northern areas are where the Muslim population is more than 10%, is where BJP had won in the Lok Sabha election, which includes one seat in the Hyderabad area, which is Secunderabad. Now, they think that the target area for them will be all these areas on the northwestern side of the state. Now, these areas where the population is more than 10% constitute roughly one-fourth of the state. The total number of seats here will not be more than 35. So, even if BJP's strategy works and the seats get divided between TRS and BJP, they will not win more than 15 to 20 seats. Last election, they had only one seat. So this time around, even if they win 20 seats, they are not going to get into the power game. Personally, I feel the polarization game is not going to work as people of Telangana are far more intelligent. Also, please note I am not making any poll prediction. I am only using the data of the parliamentary constituencies, working out the assembly seats under them, and dividing it between BJP and the TRS. Election is much more than numbers, and who knows what the outcome will be. Now let's get on to the second part of this episode where I'm going to show you a few developmental parameters of the state of Hyderabad and how it stands against rest of the country. Any BJP leader who comes to Hyderabad talks about the UP or Gujarat model. These days it is more of UP model than the Gujarat model. So I'm going to compare some of the statistics with these two states as well. Firstly, the GDP growth rate from 2014 onwards. The blue line is the India growth rate and the yellow line is the Telangana growth rate. As you see, Telangana has always been ahead of India as far as the GDP growth rate goes. Even in the bad year of the pandemic, when the India growth fell below 7%, Telangana fell to little below zero. Now, if you put UP and Gujarat on the same graph, UP is the red one, which was following the India pattern almost all through, and Gujarat is in brown here, which is close to the Telangana growth rate. So Telangana remains one of the highest GDP growth states in the country. The UP model of development and why one should not adopt it becomes clear by this next graph. This is the per capita GDP at constant prices, which means I have taken into account inflation. The per capita income in 2021 of the country was close to 1 lakh. Telangana was around 1.5 lakh and Gujarat was around 1.9 lakh. UP was one of the lowest in the country at 47,200. to 71. That is almost one third of that of Telangana. Now, just to counter Mr. Modi's charge that there has been no development in the state for the last 8 years, I am going to talk of two projects very, very briefly. The first one is Mission Bhagiratha. This was executed at a cost of 43,791 crores and was completed within the budget. Now, this project was aimed to provide piped drinking water to over 2 crore people or 20 lakh households in the urban and the rural areas. People from Telangana and Hyderabad all know the problem of piped drinking water in the state. The groundwater at many places was either not available or it was contaminated. So, this was a boon to all the residents of the state of Telangana when they started getting 100 liters per person per day of piped drinking water. Now, what Mr. Modi has forgotten is that he himself had inaugurated the first phase of this project on August 6, 2016, and before that, on 22nd May 2016, he had dedicated a full program of Man Ki Baat on this project and the efforts made by the Telangana government. This project also received the first prize of National Water Mission in 2019 and it was commended by Niti Aayog. Several states like UP, West Bengal, Bihar, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha found this project excellent and they have started implementing it in their own states. The second project I am going to talk about is the Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project. This project was executed at a cost of 1.2 lakh crores. The project was executed less than the budget and within the time of 3 years. One has to actually see this for themselves and then believe the enormity of this scheme and how it has touched the life of each and every individual in this state. I also remain one of the beneficiaries of this project. The project irrigates the entire northern stretch of Telangana and brings drinking water to the Hyderabad city. As a result of this irrigation, the agriculture produce of the state of Telangana has grown by 3 times, and this has increased the farmers' income tremendously. I can go on talking about Telangana. I can talk about KTR and how approachable and effective he is in his work. I can talk about the expansion of the IT corridor. I can talk about the infrastructure project and so on. But at this stage, all I can say is there does not appear to be any anti-incumbency against the KCR government as on date. But elections remain a different ballgame. So that's all for this week. I'll see you again next week with some more interesting data. Till then, Namaskar.